Hello guys, what is up? It is Cody from Echo Flips, and we're going to be looking at the top 5 bread and butter items that I pick up from thrift stores. And I really wish I had something like this when I first started out, but it's okay because I'm making it now for you guys, so you guys have an easier life. So let's get straight into it right now. Alright guys, we got the top 5 bread and butter thrift items. Let's get straight into this. We got expired ink. Expired ink is wonderful. I usually pay less than $5 for a pack of ink. You can sell it expired or not expired. I would just disclose that in the listing. The way you look up this ink is you get the eBay app and you scan the barcode, and if something comes up, you look at the sold listings and see if it's worth anything. If the barcode doesn't work, I would type in, so say for example this HP right here, we have this HP black 65. I would type in that into eBay, and that would be it. I would basically find it by just doing that. And yeah, so there's multiple brands of ink that you can look for. So we have HP, we have Epson, and we have Brother. We also have Kodak, which is a great brand too. Another thing to look at that's not expired ink is toner. It's usually in a bit bigger case than ink, but it's essentially the same way. You just scan it with the eBay app and look at if any sold, and also if that doesn't work, just type it in. But let's go on to the next bread and butter item. So we got baseball bats. I love baseball bats. Personally, I have found a bat from a thrift store for $3, and I sold it within 2 weeks for $250. Amazing. So we have baseball bats here, and I'd say generally kids' bats are less valuable, but that's just been in my experience. Kids' bats will be a bit smaller than this. And another thing you want to make sure when you're buying these bats is you want to make sure the grip is completely fine and not coming off. I know there's some people that repair it, but I don't have the means to, and I feel like a lot of people don't know how to do that, don't want to worry about that. So I would just say try to buy it with a good grip, and then you want to make sure that there's no cracks on the bat. You can see right here, usually it cracks where the person that's using the baseball bat is hitting it with the ball. So if you can see my mouse cursor right now, it would crack somewhere along here or even along this head at the top. So we also have a few brands. We have Easton, we have Louisville Slugger, which is a great brand, and we have I believe you say Damari. I might be wrong about that. And if you guys want more information about bats, I would go to the Cincinnati Picker channel. I'll have a link in the description. He has a very in-depth guide about bats and golf clubs, which is so valuable. I've probably made a few hundred off of just watching that guide. I didn't know that there was this much money in bats until I walked in to an Academy Sports and I looked at the bats and I went, holy crap, they're selling all of these bats for about $100 to $200. This is insane. Same with the golf clubs, and our next item is, guess what? Golf clubs. So about the same process as bats. You want to make sure the grip is fine, and you want to make sure there's no cracks on it. Usually they crack where the person hits the ball with, so they'll either crack here on like the, I believe it's called the face, or they'll crack somewhere here, if you can see my mouse cursor. And there's some really good brands for this. We have the TaylorMades, we have the Titleist, and the Callaway. Those are the three that you'll usually find, but there's some sleeper brands like this K-Rank. Personally, I found this K-Rank and I sold it for $130, and I paid $15 for it at a thrift store. Pretty crazy. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for golf clubs. Another thing to note is when you buy it, you got to make sure, if you're worried about getting your money back right away, it's not too much of a big deal, but I'd look if it's a left or right-handed golf club. when you list the item, you want to make sure you know whether it's a left or right-handed golf club, because if the person's right-handed and they get a left-handed golf club, they obviously can't use it. So you just got to make sure about that. And another thing is, if you have a left-handed golf club, the market on it's probably going to be a bit lower, and it might take longer to sell because less people are left-handed. Alright, here's another bread and butter item that I absolutely love selling. We have remotes. I generally pay under $1 for these remotes, and a big thing to note is you want to make sure it works. So hopefully you guys can see I have a remote here, and if you put batteries in it, sometimes you can see a light like that, which probably indicates it works. But if you want to see if it really works, you can get a camera like this, and then you shine the remote into it, and if it makes, you can't see it with your normal eyes, but if it makes, I don't know if you guys can even see it that well in the video, but if it makes that little red dot, hopefully you guys can see that red dot, then you know it is a good remote and it works great. So another thing to note when you're buying these remotes from thrift stores is sometimes they get corrosion, and you're going to have to use a Q-tip and alcohol to clean it. In my personal experience, if it has a lot of corrosion, there's a lot higher chance or higher likelihood that the remote is not going to work. One other thing to note is I found the weirder the remote, the better. I found remotes before where it was a double-sided remote where it had buttons on the top and the bottom, and that was very weird to me, and I sold that one for about $35. So if you find something weird, maybe it has a screen on it, maybe it just looks very new, maybe just something's off about the remote, I would look it up, because weird is money a lot of the times. So yeah, another thing is when you're looking up these remotes to see how much they are, generally I don't look them up until I get home, because it's just not really worth the time. You're buying something for a quarter. I'd rather just look it up at home and then list it then, just because it's a little bit more time effective. But if you look it up, I would look at the model number, and the model number is either on the top of the remote or the bottom of the remote. And if it has no model number, you can just look at the brand and try to find ones that look similar on eBay and find it that way. Alright, our last bread and butter item is calculators. So another electronic, you want to make sure they work. We have various types here. So we got the TI-84 Plus, which is a calculator that I find a decent amount of the time. So yeah, and then we have the TI-83, which is not as expensive as the TI-84 Plus, but it's the TI-83 Plus. I've sold this one before for $25, and I usually pick it up for $1 too. Oh, you didn't see that. and then we got the Texas Instruments TI-84 Plus CE. This one's the big boy. It's worth a lot of money. If you can find this used, I believe it goes above $80. And then we have the TI-86 graphing calculator. This one I picked up for $1 before, and I've sold it for $17, so good money there. And then there's even money in these L Sharpo calculators, the bigger ones. In my thrift store, they're usually a bit more expensive, so I don't pick them up. But I can definitely see if you're getting them for $1 or $2 or really cheap. I wouldn't mind making $35, a $35 sale on that. So another thing to note about calculators is, I'd say in a sense, they're sort of seasonal. I know with coronavirus right now, a lot of kids don't really need these calculators, but in some schools these calculators are required by math for students, by their math teachers, and the supply and the demand varies a good bit during that time. So right before school season, you want to hold these calculators right before school starts, because right before school starts the demand will shoot all the way up, and there won't be as much supply, and So usually, say you can have a TI 84 Plus calculator, and you can sell it all day for $45 every day of the year. But right before school starts, you can get $65 for it. So that's just a thing to note, because if you find multiple of these a year, you can save them right before school starts and then sell them right there, where you'll make the most amount of money. So here is a bonus. We have lots of books. I've done very well with lots of books, and I didn't know that they were worth money. So we have Goosebumps books. So pretty much any lot of book can be worth money. You just look it up on the eBay app. But even these crappy Scholastic branded books, people love Goosebumps, so people will love to buy a whole lot of them. So if you get these for about 10 cents each, you can make a little bit of money on that. I know about the Harry Potter books. If you have the whole collection, then you can lot them up for a lot more money. And generally, you can find these Harry Potter books at thrift stores for $1 to $2. So if you eventually find the whole lot, you can make a $60 sale off of that. Another big thing is manga. People love their manga, and they love having sets of it just to display on their shelves or even to read. And I don't even know this manga series, but this is just an example. Manga does sell very well, and people love buying these lots of manga because they are crazy for their favorite manga. Another thing is, this is also a great item to sell by itself. It's vintage Bibles. People love vintage Bibles. Sometimes you can find a vintage Bible for $1 or $2 and then sell it for $40 pretty easily. But for the lower end vintage Bibles, or even just regular Bibles that aren't worth that much money, you can lot them together to get something worth selling. I've had before where I picked up 6 Bibles for 10 cents each, and then I lotted them up. I sold them on eBay and for $20. So pretty decent thing to do. You don't have to be an expert in this. You just got to see, oh, there's a bunch of this type of book, lot them up. If you're getting them for cheap enough, you can make some good money and move those books pretty fast. So and one last thing to mention about the books, though, you want to make sure that they don't have any mold or water damage. So I think that concludes this top 5 bread and butter thrift items. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Tell me how you like or don't like the PowerPoint format that I did. I'm really interested to see you guys' comments. Hopefully this has helped you guys out. This has been Cody from Echo Flips, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.